Dr. Monisha. Welcome to One Question at a Time series. Let's move on to today's question. Narrowest part of the esophagus lies at which of the following contraction site? Okay, at the level of cricoid esophageal sphincter, at the level of crossing of arch of aorta, at the level of crossing of left bronchus, at the level of opening in the diaphragm, which is the most narrowest part of the esophagus. That is the question. We'll see a little bit about the esophagus. As we all know, esophagus is a muscular tube, okay, which starts in the cervical part at the lower end of the lower border of the cricoid cartilage, okay. So it has a cervical part, a thoracic part. It travels through the superior and posterior mediastinum, and it pierces the diaphragm and opens in the cardiac end of the stomach. So the esophagus has three parts: cervical, thoracic and abdominal part, and in the adult it is about 25 centimeter in length, which varies with the gender, age and height of the individual. It is only about 25 centimeter, not exactly 25 centimeter. That we should have in mind. Okay, so we will see about the constructions. So the first construction is in the initial part where the esophagus just starts, where it is um, where it is enveloped by the cricopharyngeus muscle. So it forms a kind of a sphincter called the upper esophageal sphincter. Okay, so it is the first construction site, which is about 15 centimeter from the upper incisor teeth, or about 6 inches from the upper incisor teeth. Okay, the second construction is at the level of crossing of the arch of aorta, which is about 9 inches or 22 centimeter from the upper incisor teeth. And the third construction is at the level of crossing of the left principal bronchus, which is about 11 inches or 27 centimeter from the upper incisor teeth. And the fourth construction is the level of piercing the diaphragm, as we all know, where the muscle fibers from the right truss of the diaphragm will be providing a sphincteric effect, forming the lower esophageal sphincter, which is about 15 inches or 40 centimeter from the upper incisor teeth. It is easy to remember in inches: 6 inches, 9 inches, 11 inches and 15 inches respectively from the upper incisor teeth. 6, 9, 11 and 15. And coming to the vertebral level, the first construction is at the level of C6 vertebra, because it is just at the lower border of the cricoid cartilage. It is at the level of C6 vertebra. The second construction is at the level of T4 vertebra, because the arch of aorta, one of the things happening at the level of T4. And the third construction is at the level of T6, the crossing of the left principal bronchus. And the fourth construction, the esophageal opening in the diaphragm, is at the level of T10. The vertebral levels also must be remembered. Among these, okay, the first construction, the opening, the narrowest part of the esophagus, the esophageal diameter is about 1.4 to 1.5 centimeter in diameter. Of all the constructions, though there is very minute variations in the diameter in all these four parts, this first construction at the level of cricopharyngeus, about 6 inches from the incisor teeth, it is the narrowest portion of the esophagus, where the esophageal diameter is 1.4 to 1.5 centimeter. So coming back to the question, esophagus is constructed at 4 anatomical locations, as we saw now. Narrowest part of the esophagus is at which level? It is at the level of cricoesophageal sphincter, or it is at the level of upper esophageal sphincter. It is at the level of C6 vertebra. It is about 6 inches from the upper incisor teeth. Everything is at this level. Okay. So, you all know This cricoesophageal sphincter, or this part at the C6 vertebral level, it is the narrowest part of the esophagus and it is the second most narrowest part in the body. You all know that it is the second most narrowest part in the body. Then we all must be thinking, what is the first most narrowest part in our body? Comment in the comment section, what is the first most narrowest part in the body? Okay. So the importance of these constructions, we have many importance. Why should we know this? Know these things about construction? Okay. So the first thing is, what is this? This is the orogastric tube. Okay, this is the orogastric tube. So while inserting this orogastric tube, we must be cautious about the 6, 11, 6, 9, 11 and 15 inches. Okay, we must be cautious at these 4 construction sites while we are inserting the orogastric tube. Okay, but as I said before, the length of the esophagus varies with the age also. In the newborn, the esophagus length is about 18 centimeter, and at about 3 years of age, it is about 22 centimeter, and only at 10 years of age, it reaches the adult size of 25 centimeter. So the construction sites are not always at the expected inches. Okay, while we are inserting for the newborn, we should be much more cautious about the construction sites of the esophagus. Okay, so so one of the importance why we should know about these construction is because the construction sites are most common sites for lodging of the foreign body. Okay, so here we can see in this X-ray a foreign body is lodged in the esophagus at the level of C6 at the first construction site, which is the narrowest portion of the esophagus, the second most narrowest part in the body. Okay, here we can see a foreign body, and all the 4 sites are common sites for a foreign body lodging, so we should be cautious. And the third importance regarding these constructions is these constructions are sites for stasis of secretions, be it the body secretions or externally intake of corrosive fluids can get stasis in these parts and can lead to contractions. Here you can see the GERD secretions getting back inside the esophagus, or laryngeal inflammation getting into the esophagus. These secretions can inflame the esophagus more commonly at the 4 points of constriction, and it can irritate the esophagus more likely in the constriction sites. This is another importance. Okay, and this can lead to constriction or narrowing of the tube like this. So this kind of constriction is intrinsic constriction, okay, where it is because of the esophagus itself. And we have another type of constriction called the extrinsic constriction, where the constriction is due to external sources. Okay, so we'll see about the extrinsic constriction. One common cause for extrinsic constriction is in the case of mitral stenosis, where the enlarged left atrium can compress on the esophagus, as you can see in this picture. The left atrium compressing on the esophagus, leading to a constriction which can cause dysphagia, and that kind of dysphagia is called dysphagia megalentriensis. Okay, and that kind of dysphagia is called dysphagia megalentriensis. So you would have heard of Ortner's syndrome also, where the enlarged left atrium is compressing on the recurrent laryngeal nerve. Like that, in the case of mitral stenosis, the enlarged left atrium can compress on the esophagus, giving a source of extrinsic constriction. An example of extrinsic constriction giving rise to dysphagia megalentriensis. Okay, what are the other causes of extrinsic constriction is any lymph node or any carcinoma nearby can compress on the esophagus and can cause constriction or um, okay, any lymph node can compress on the esophagus, okay, or any aneurysm of the aorta, okay, can also compress on the esophagus, giving rise to dysphagia. Okay, so a little bit about the esophagus histology. Here we have the mucosa made up of non-keratinized stratified squamous epithelium. Okay, mucosa. We have the epithelium, lamina propria and muscularis mucosa. Okay, the mucosa parts, the epithelium, lamina propria we have, and then we have the muscularis mucosa, then we have the submucosa, then we have the muscularis externa, the inner circular and the outer longitudinal muscle. So we have the mucosa, submucosa, muscularis externa with the inner circular and outer longitudinal muscle. What is the one layer that is missing which will be present in the other parts of GIT? What is the one layer that is missing in the esophagus? So we have these four layers classical to GIT, but one layer that is not present in the esophagus, and that one layer is the serosa. So my question is, the esophagus, it doesn't have serosa, and what is the importance of the absence of serosa and how it will affect it? Okay, and that is my question. My another question is, what is the other region? It is only region. What is the other region that has a similar histology like that of esophagus? Okay, what is the other region that has a similar histology like that of esophagus? Comment in the comment section. Thank you guys. We'll see in another interesting question. Thank you.